Yeah, I remember like early on I didn't listen to the others at all because you're young and whatever, you haven't done it much.
Yeah, I mean,
But then you do it for a while and you really like start to focus more on what's happening and not what you're playing. Sometimes I sit down and I want to do some specific thing and I start doing that. But then that 99% of the time evolves very quickly into some other direction. And like, okay, this is working much better. Like,
so basically, you get photos done of your face.
okay.
And you have to like maybe 100, maybe 40, I don't know. You need to pick out 5, 6, 4, 8, how many? Stare at the same, it's still you. And at some point your insecurity kicks in of like, fucking hell, my forehead is huge. You know what I mean? Hello, Peter.
Hello, hello, Sabi. Sylas.
Sylas, yeah, fucking I'm still not used to like talking English to people that I know are Hungarian. I mean, we've met a couple of times.
Yeah.
We've met I saw you perform in your first DJ set, apparently.
Yeah.
And then I literally hailed you in a store at like 1 a.m. Like, dude, you're the Hungarian DJ.
Yeah. It would have been funnier if you also had a gun to my back. Like,
dude,
yeah.
come with me, I need you for an interview. Follow me if you want to live.
Exactly.
Right, so that kind of opens up this conversation nice and easy, which is you're from Hungary.
I am, yeah, from Budapest.
From Budapest, nice and easy, from the capital. Brilliant. And also, you're a musician. This is where you tell me all the things you do, so I don't have to guess.
Okay, yeah, so I am a musician.
Yeah.
I started with a classical guitar, as you can see.
Nice.
I did this in like, you know how we have these music schools in Hungary? I don't know if you have this in
we
Transylvania.
Yeah,
it's not a
have
thing
some.
here. Like this afternoon music school stuff.
Oh yeah, what was it? Names, so it's like it was called like a folk music school.
Oh, okay.
Like my cousin did violin, and
Yeah.
you could do photography and dance.
Oh,
and
okay. No, this is more like specifically like just music.
All right.
But all
okay.
kinds of instruments, and it's like super cheap. It's a very good opportunity for children to learn music. So anyway, I started with that, and when I was here, I got more into electronic music slowly.
All right. So were you doing classical music back home mostly?
Yeah, and then as a teen, I was really into rock and metal.
As all the cool kids were. We're the cool gang here.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's go.
But I kind of lost that. I think like here, I realized like on the guitar, I actually don't want to play this heavy shit. Like now, I enjoy playing more like
Excuse
classical
you?
stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not
Treason.
Yeah, but it is what it is. I still like to go to a punk concert sometimes, although
okay.
I haven't been in years, but it can be fun.
He's getting old, people. He's getting old.
Anyway, yeah, so...
All right, but so I just wanted to like figure out, so obviously in classical guitar, I've seen you DJing. Is there other instruments? Is there any other arts that you're involved in? So I know all the questions I can ask you.
Yeah, okay, apart from music... No, well, in music, I also bought this clarinet that's there a year ago, but I haven't played it much.
Fair
But
enough.
I still really want to learn it. I don't know. I like to try my hand at an instrument. Nowadays, it's mostly just synths and sounds, though.
Fair
It
enough.
is what it is.
Fair enough.
I also like doing a lot of photography, but that's also been taking a backseat in the past 2 years.
So was that more of a hobby, or is that something you're interested in on a professional
So
level?
no, I'm much less interested in that, like let's say professionally as in music, but it's definitely something I like to be serious about. But I still like to just keep that as a relaxation kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
it's
chill.
something.
Yeah. I really like to do that on like with film cameras. That's a very kind of meditative experience. And I also kind of got into doing more digital artworks, but that's also on the side of like
design and stuff. Sort of graphic
yeah,
design.
or just like kind of fuck up photos that I already have.
All right, fair enough.
Like, like sometimes I had photos that were like, oh, there's something good about this, but also it's not that nice. So let's recycle it.
You make me feel better about all my horrible editing that I do, I'm not a shitty editor. I'm just doing graphic design. It's abstract, darling. Get with the flow.
No, but yeah, anyway, that's also a fun thing to do. Yeah, I like all kind of audiovisual stuff.
All right, cool. Then I find it kind of interesting actually that sometimes you need an outlet, creative or otherwise, that's completely independent of what you do most of the time. Because I know for myself, I'm still learning this not to get too sucked up into working all the time, because you kind of end up being a workaholic, and then everything else suffers in your life, and then you feel bad because you let all your friends are ignoring, you're ignoring all your friends and family and whatnot. But yeah, it's like I need something that's still creative, but has nothing to do with like videos and stories and writing. Like, let me just go take pictures for it because it's beautiful and I'm enjoying it, and it just makes me feel relaxed.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think I ever felt like stressed about doing photos. Whereas, if I don't finish a track or something and I have it in the back of my mind, I'm like, fuck, I should really do this.
You're a failure.
Yeah. But yeah, so I agree completely with this. Having two outlets is good.
Yeah.
But also I think it's very hard to focus on two things, like really focus on it.
Yeah, I can see that because I'm doing acting and stand-up and I'm doing YouTube as well, technically. So it's three things, and it's like, what do I do now? Which ones?
Yeah.
It is very much putting out fires where I'm like, I need to write this now. I need to do this now. But it's fun. Fuck it. Like once you get okay with not being in full control of it and just go with the flow as much as you can.
Yeah.
It becomes a bit more chill. You're like, well, none of this would have existed if I didn't start this. So can we just appreciate all the little shit I've done, please? Thank you very much.
Yeah, I should probably tell that myself more.
Yeah. That note to self, perfectionism. That's gonna be a topic I'll ask you about. But I wanna get into your backstory a little bit, right? Let's start with the basics. So Hungary, Budapest, born and raised.
Yes, yeah.
Cool, nice and easy. And then when did you discover music? Was there something?
So I started doing the classical guitar thing when I was like 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to, or were your parents wanting you to be an educated child?
I think it's both, and I think there's also like, I wouldn't really call it peer pressure, but like, it was definitely a thing. Like a lot of children started doing something, and then you join in. And you're not pressured, but you just like naturally just okay. I also do this.
Like you went home crying, Mom, all the cool kids are playing violin, and I don't have any instruments, Mom.
It's actually a really cool thing because my school was really close to the music school. I literally like 2 minutes of walk.
Yeah.
And they basically had like not an agreement, but they definitely had an uptake from our school that they would start doing music in that school, right? Because the music school is just an afternoon thing mostly, right?
Okay, right.
Right, and so I went to regular school.
When you say music school, I'm thinking like a proper like a high school that specializes in music.
No. This is because this can get kind of high level, but it starts from educating children.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just called Zenei Iskola, right? So that's just the music school.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's like, I think it's a very specific thing that the other countries may not have.
I'm trying to think.
I don't know.
Because the closest thing we'd have back home, right, is there was a high school that was an arts high school, and you could have different departments, and like painting, and you'd have the plastic arts, and then you have I don't know if I just translated that properly, but stuff that you do with your hands, like sculptures and stuff.
Wave. I'm a professional waver.
Stuff you do with your hands, mime, and music, and I don't know if there was an acting course. I'm not sure about that, but there was a couple of stuff like music specifically. Okay. And then the other thing I was telling you about, which was called the folk school. Was it called the folk school? But they would. I'm mixing up the names here, but yeah, they would give you classes that were in music. As I said, my cousin learned violin, and there's photography courses and stuff. And I think that's like part-time stuff that you can do. Okay. If you're interested. So I think we also have that kind of concept.
Yeah. So it's a bit different, but still slightly similar. Yeah. So anyway, I started doing like basic music theory at like 7. It's like a prep course. So after that, you can start doing some instruments. Some people took up like just the flute, but the recorder.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, my mom was like, nah, just wait a year and you can play something like guitar. And it was really funny because
your mom already had a hierarchy of what's the acceptable instruments.
Maybe because she actually learned guitar for like 3 years.
Okay.
And the funniest shit that I had the same teacher as she did.
Oh.
Yeah. But when she had him, the guy was like super young, and after like 2 years, he had to go into military service, right? And then they switched teachers, and I think my mom didn't like it afterwards. Whoa. But then, I went to they had like small tests that you can clap on rhythm or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was the same dude. So it was really funny.
Oh, so and did he know that he taught your mom?
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been a...
And of course he taught me for 10 years. So after that, like, of course it was like, they had a well, not a relationship, but they still met sometimes, you know, when there were concerts or
That
something.
must have been a trip.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was for my mom and for the teacher as well.
It's
Like,
Wait, what?
what the fuck? Yeah.
Kidception. Oh yeah, that's yeah. Haven't spoken to my teachers in a long time. It must be really wild being a teacher, going around town and seeing all these kids that you taught having kids of their own, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and you also lived like half a lifetime in the same period, you know, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
pretty much. Yeah, and this kid has no idea all the stress you put, their parent through back in the day.
Yeah.
I wonder if teachers hold grudges long term and be like, one day I'm gonna teach your kids. I'm gonna.
I think
fill
that
them
must be
so-"
super rare.
It
Like, I
must-
think those type of people just don't generally become teachers.
I mean-
Definitely not music teachers, because, you know, this school was like very,
Aye.
this was relatively laid back. It was definitely not like a conservatory level in terms of like how much they pushed you.
There must be someone, right? There must be at least one teacher in the history of humanity was like punishing a child for
Oh,
the parents.
Yeah. Man, that's like a generational trauma for the family. Like,
Oh man. Right. Well, okay. So you kind of started early on, and
yeah.
did you make a conscious decision to go into professional music, or?
I mean, I didn't go into professional music at all. I don't feel like it.
All right. Okay.
Like, you know, I'm not earning money from this. It's just
Okay. No. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, wait.
I mean, look, when I was learning guitar, I think after like 4 years, 5 years, I really kind of wanted to stop because I was like 12. Who the fuck wants to do this? I don't care about this music that much. I mean, I like playing music,
12,
but
right?
like, yeah, let's say 12, 11, I don't know. 12, yeah. But my mom really pushed me like, okay, but just finish this year. And after I finished that year, I was like, yeah, I'm actually down to do this. Even though I was not super interested in actually playing classical music.
Yeah.
But I still really enjoyed playing it. Practicing, not that much, but playing it was really cool. So yeah, I think after that, I just did this, but I didn't actually think I would get into music more seriously until much later.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm curious. How did that happen?
That's actually a hard question. I don't know.
Well, we're here for the hard answers.
Yeah. I have to think about this. I don't know. I don't know. I realized I want to be more serious about doing creative things,
Right.
but this probably happened semi-organically. Also, I think here also it was good that I met a few people that also kind of started doing music and had like kind of a similar background.
Yeah.
So it was very nice to like learn together. And then I think getting like effect pedals for me was like a huge wake up call.
Right.
That also going towards electronic music, because I realized like, oh yeah, since I was a child, I was really interested in sounds in general, as a holistic like concept of sound. So like even noise and, you know, everything really. It's just like it was really enticing to me, and
Just make you feel good.
yeah, and I realized like, oh yeah, this is really cool. And then also I realized that doing like, let's say, production, or doing like making music more in this like electronic way rather than how I previously imagined it, or what I had in my mind before of like rock bands and all this shit.
Yeah.
It was much closer to
But
me.
let's not say rock bands and all this shit, because rock bands are pretty cool. Okay.
No, but it's a very
I'm just
different.
me-
It's a
I'm just
very
messing
different.
with
It's
you.
a very different vibe, because then you play music with other people,
Yeah.
and you jam more, right? But then when you actually get down to write and record music, that's like a whole separate process. Whereas I found a lot of enjoyment in just like doing this, let's say, recording or production from scratch, and just like building on that. And you know, that I found it as a good way to compose music this way, instead of like, I don't know, yeah, jamming with other people. I mean, I
Yeah.
still like jamming with other people, but you know,
Like
how
you
I
kind
used to
of-
do it before.
You're kind of like the master of everything, and you're kind of your own.
Yeah.
god.
I mean, there's a lot of challenges in that, I think.
Dude, yeah.
But I
'cause
also
you have to come up
I,
with everything.
I also find it like super cool. I think maybe it's, you know, takes much longer to master because you have to focus on more things. But
Does it
it's
have to
fun.
do with feeling more in control?
maybe, or I don't know. I'm sure in my mind I always wanted to both play the instruments but also conduct the music, if that makes sense. I mean, I don't think that would be something I could do on a classical level because I'm not that trained or anything. I'm
Yeah,
not that
fair
good,
enough.
but like, but yeah, I think that's why a lot of people probably do this as well, because it gives you a lot of control.
Interesting.
Very
And yeah, and with
immediate.
control comes like you're more capable of expressing yourself fluidly and just
Yeah, I guess so.
fluently.
I guess.
It's just like everything that's on, well, not on paper, but everything you hear is something you wanted to create, as opposed to
Yeah.
when you're in a band, then everybody has to have a say. It's it's a collaborative.
Ideally.
Ideally, yes, but or at least because you can't tell the drummer, all right, you shut up, you're gonna play this. Like the drummer's gonna have to have some sort of input,
Exactly.
and
Which is
the
also
bass
very
is gonna have
nice.
to have
It's
some
also
sort of
very
input.
nice. Like I jam with other people much less now
Mm.
than even like a year ago, and I missed it a lot.
Yeah.
But sometimes that does take like effort. Like I found in previous times, like sometimes it just doesn't work. And sometimes you both like really get into the same vibe and same flow, and it just feels very organic. Where sometimes you're just like, oh no, nothing's working.
Yes,
Everyone's just playing
I'm not
their.
listening.
It's really bad listening to the other people. Yeah. With the classical guitar, I also did a lot of like chamber music of just like not with other instruments but with other guitars.
Yeah.
And that's also an interesting thing. Like
Is it normally like duos
or trios, yeah. And then it would usually be separated into different like pitch ranges. So someone would be playing more like bass, but still on a normal guitar.
Mm.
Someone would be playing like top and like more have like not solos, but you know what I mean. And yeah, I remember like early on I didn't listen to the others at all because you're young and whatever, you haven't done it much.
Yeah, I mean.
But then you do it for a while and you really like start to focus more on what's happening and not what you're playing.
Yeah,
And that's a cool experience.
you're 100% correct. I think with acting as well, we are told like it takes a lot of practice to sort of get into this habit, but they tell you that acting is mostly listening, because when you come into it, you see these great performances and you have this idea of like, oh, so they don't, they went in knowing what they're gonna do and they did it and that was so cool. But actually, no, they went in knowing, their lines, whatever. But what you're seeing is two people interacting, in front of you.
Yeah.
That one time, because if you're gonna see them the second time, it's gonna be slightly different. It's not gonna be the exact same thing.
Sure.
And the beauty is not that they got this one note right. The beauty is that they're, it's raw. It's, it's not. It is like it's rehearsed in one sense, but it's not like something you're trying to recreate. It's not like a photocopy of a previous performance.
Sure.
It's something that's live in front of you, and I think that's it's kind of cool to hear that that's true for music as well.
Yeah, I mean, even if you go to concerts, that happens. Like sometimes I can get a bit, I would say, disappointed when I go to a concert of a live band, and they just really try to reproduce the what they have on the studio albums, right, on the studio recordings. Because it's live, it doesn't work as well, because sometimes it loses for me like the production style that can really give an extra edge to the song itself or the music itself. But sometimes they play a really live version. You can really see that they're almost jamming together. Of course, a lot of it is rehearsed, but not all of it, and that's like super cool.
Like they're in the moment.
Yeah.
This is like, for actors, a lot. This is like 24/7. You want to be in the moment. You do all this practice, you let it go, and you got to be in the moment. And you're like, where the fuck is the moment? What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, see, a lot of these things are like true, but so pretentious.
They're true. It's just they are kind of. Some of it is pretentious, and some of it is just explained in like a very fancy way. And then for some reason in the arts, people insist in talking in fucking metaphors, all the time. Okay. And I'm talking about acting because that's what I know. Yeah. But when like, I don't know if you have that in music, but when somebody goes off and explains this very complicated thing, but they're constantly using you gotta be a tree, you gotta be this, you gotta be that, and it's like, that doesn't mean to me what you think it does, like that makes sense to you, but not to me. I don't have those metaphors. I need to download them.
Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, I know nothing about like acting. I mean, how you like learn acting together.
Yeah.
I have no overview on that at all, almost. So that's cool. That's cool to hear. It's cool to hear.
I mean, this just coming back around to what we're talking about. So you sort of figured out that you're interested in music and then decided to start pursuing it? Was that kind of
I think
how it
so,
went?
yeah. I mean, because I always liked it. Like, I always loved listening to it, and I was always super interested in it.
Yeah.
But I just didn't have this conscious realization that, okay, I actually want to do this as a very serious hobby, and I'm super motivated to do this.
So this was something that was happening outside of school, right? You had the school, and you had music. Yeah, the music school.
Which school?
Well, I
Yeah,
mean-
yeah. So I had normal school,
Yeah.
and then music school as an afternoon thing, like once or twice a week.
And then where was there a switch that happened when you want to put more emphasis on music, or did you just go through high school, everything else, while also pursuing music at the same
Yeah,
time?
I just went through everything else because even now, like I'm not like I'm working as a PhD student in aerospace, so not doing this as a professional thing. I never went to conservatory.
Listen, Pink Floyd were
So it's
engineers,
like,
so
it's
No
I think it's possible to do these things side by side.
yeah.
And yeah, even until probably 1-2 years into uni, I still wasn't like really like sure like okay, I really wanna do music like and be serious about it instead of just like jamming sometimes on the guitar.
Yeah. I mean, cliche, but Einstein played the violin.
Okay, I
That
didn't
is-
know this, but I
Yeah,
can
he
believe it.
did. I'm not about to quote something from him because the internet's full of fake Einstein
Yeah,
quotes.
yeah.
But no, it's basically like a lot of people that are into science or things like that, or the hard sciences, we also indulge in a bit of art, a bit of music, a bit of
Yeah.
something. I think yeah.
I mean, also I think there's with a lot of technical arts that are centered on the computer
Yeah.
or just with like with hardware or whatever. There's a huge overlap between engineering and the art itself,
Yeah, okay.
which I also find really cool.
Yeah, tell me about this. I'm curious because I've had a mathematician talk about this. I want to hear an engineer talk about this as well.
Okay. Well, I also like this. I always like this analogy, like when you go into Photoshop and you resize a picture,
Yeah.
and you maybe like warp them in some way, so they kind of rotate them. Then those are the exact same equations underlying that you would do for rotating frames of reference. I don't know if this means anything to you.
Not yet, but
in science, like the coordinate axes, like X,
Yeah.
Y, Z, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
on. Like that's a frame of reference.
right. Okay. Yeah.
So if you have it like set like this, but then you rotate it like this, there's specific equations that you have to do in a specific order to do that rotation correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do the exact same shit when you want to resize a picture. But then, of course, it's a completely different application.
Yeah. I mean, you're not thinking about
but
it. You're just going.
I
I just wanted to go that way, please. Thank you.
Yeah, but someone had to write that code.
Yeah. So the person writing the
But
code.
this is a very easy and simple example. I think there's much more overlap as well.
Yeah, but you're talking about thinking in space, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I think, you don't have this if someone's a painter. Not as much because you don't paint on, well, as like a traditional painter, because you don't have to like resize abstract data and images. But
No, but even then, I mean, yeah, I don't know enough about painting to get into it, but I'm fairly confident that if you sit down at the nitty gritty and what goes into your painting and what makes a good painting, you would have certain scientific principles that would show up.
yeah, I mean, of course, there's like
I mean, you're talking-
good rules for composition,
Yeah.
for all kind of visual arts that's semi-rooted in I don't know,
Like there's a biologist and a
like
neurobiologist.
ratios and what. Sorry.
I mean, there's a biologist and a neurobiologist go, well, basically the eye, and then that's what happens, and the brain makes this connection. You're like,
Yeah.
okay,
But that's that's because
cool. I just want to enjoy it. Thank
that's
you.
the perception part. But
Yeah.
I'm talking more about the doing it or the creation
Yeah,
part, right? But yeah, I think composition definitely has some like rules of thumb that are rooted in ratios, but there's less of a hard science.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's the mathematics of music. I don't.
But yeah, in music that's much more ingrained, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like yeah. There's like some number series that actually I don't know right now which ones that actually relate to a lot of ethno music around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they're called Euclidean sequences. Oh yeah, so it's Euclidean sequences.
Hey, look at you go.
Yeah. So that's super cool. And that's basically maths. But then also there's a paper on this, and it's been used a lot now. That relates this to music from South America, music from Africa, like basically how the rhythms are structured.
Yeah, and I find that folk music is, I've obviously growing up, you're like a kid, you're like, well, what is this? It's like old people shit, leave me alone.
Yeah.
But unless you're in a family that sort of encourages that. But as I'm growing up and I'm becoming a bit more open and a bit more okay with just going outside of my comfort zone, I learned to appreciate that there's like this emotional content to it, like there's a depth to it, to folk music around the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Because obviously these are people that, these stories, these human stories for centuries or generations of pain and struggle and love.
Sure,
and
sure.
Like even Hungarian folk music, a lot of it's about war. Our folk music is very depressing for some reason.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I mean, a Hungarian one specifically, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of it, but that's just how it is, you know.
yeah, but there's something very raw and just this, as you said, live emotion like it's captured in this song. I mean, I recently went to my best friend's wedding back home, and basically it was kind of glorious to see. Obviously, the parents are already emotional and stuff,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then they bring out the musicians, and then with this folk songs, they're like Drago Hiroshonya, and it was literally like on cue. The guy comes up, one song for dad. In the beginning, dad's emotional. By the end, dad is like, like just melting, and then the mom's like just emotional but watching him. And then the guy switches over and sings a song to mom, and mom's like, it's true though, because they get all like, folk music, as I said, is quite potent, and the Hungarian folk music specifically is very gut punch after another. Like, I'm saying goodbye to you, mom, and I'm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Hungarian folk music is either depressing. Or, like, actually, is there any other version?
There is.
Because even the stuff about sex is always just like has some fucking somber shit in it.
It's like, let's have sex before we die.
Exactly. Or like, oh, fuck, my lover's dead. Now I'm
trying to think, is like, I mean, a lot of it's about the Revolutionary War. So all the stuff that we learned in school.
Okay.
What is it?
But like you mean in 1848?
Yeah, 1848.
Yeah.
I was like, was it the...
I mean, there's like Kossuth
Gábor
and
Gábor, which is like the...
Which is almost marches.
Yeah, these are like marching songs, yeah. And then, I mean, you got the classics, which is about... Oh, we have songs about booze. I just realized, Hula Silva Faro.
Oh, yeah.
Or now you've got the...
Wait, I think Hula Silva Faro is also about sex, though.
Potentially.
Probably.
Yeah. And then, I mean, the it's not a folk song, but it should be the Pálinka Szerelmem, Légy az enyém.
Okay.
Which is about Hungarian moonshine. And you're singing a song to this moonshine of like, I want you to be mine. So, yeah.
Yeah, but I think...
Can you tell I went to a wedding? Can you tell I was at a Hungarian wedding?
Fuck. I'm actually kind of glad, because I've also been to a wedding recently, and I told you, like, when it was here, I'm kind of glad I didn't have to, like, listen to Mulatos. Because the last time I did that, I was, like, 14, and...
You can't listen. You don't appreciate that kind of music when you're 14 because you're like a teenager and you're trying to be cool and you're like, oh, what is this?
I don't think I would appreciate it, no. Unless I was like blind drunk, but at that point, like, give me anything.
Like once you get on that vibe, once you just let it, penetrate your ears, there's no stopping it. Now it's happening. You're like,
oh my god.
Right. So. You're studying, you said aerospace engineering.
Yeah.
I'm curious now. I kind of gathered that you came here for studies, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of want to know the
18.
story. Yeah. You moved here when you were 18?
Yeah.
How old are you, dude?
I'm 25.
All right, okay, 7 years ago. All right, okay. Well, yeah, we talked about this. Yeah. Okay, so if you want to, I'm just curious about how you ended up in the UK. Why the UK? That's always a fun topic.
Yeah, well... This is gonna be the most Hungarian answer, but education is free here. Was free. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. Fuck that. But yeah. So
that's not Hungarian. That's just I'm trying to build a life, and I'm gonna go where it's most likely I'll make it.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry.
So yeah, I've never been to the UK before. I actually moved here.
Well,
this is done.
Well,
this is what it is.
This is how it looks now.
Yeah.
We've rearranged.
Now we have the classic brown couches for Glasgow,
It's not that kind of couch. Calm down.
Yeah, so so I never been to the UK before, but I already had Scotland must be cooler than England. I don't know why. This is some prejudice, not a very strong one.
Hang on, so we need to talk about this. We have a shit ton of Scottish jokes.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Well,
like there's books
of Scottish jokes, yeah. Probably.
Yes, and the punchline is always some visual, graphic, or ridiculous way a Scotsman is cheap, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not, they're just No, you can say greedy, I guess.
No, not greedy. They're just
Cheap.
like
That's the joke is they're not willing to
or
spend
just like
money.
frugal.
Frugal, yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
that's
other
the
word,
word, yeah.
yes. And do you have any idea why that is?
No, I don't know. Because we also have a lot of jokes that are in a similar vein about Sekai people.
Do you?
Wait, fuck.
Wait, what? Technically, I don't know if I'm Sekai or not, so.
Okay.
But are they frugal? I know, like, the jokes we have about Seikas, that they don't say, they're not talkative, they're not very communicative.
I think we have like they're not very talkative, or they're just like, there's a classic joke about the watermelon and the kids and the beer.
Well,
Do you know that one?
So we know that as a Scottish joke.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh.
for us it's a Scottish joke.
No, for us that's a Sekai joke.
Really?
Yeah. But I think if memory serves me right, there's like a huge overlap between Scottish and Sekai jokes in Hungary.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe it's just because it's like Skot Sekai. I don't know. Sounds.
I mean, to be fair, so
vaguely
for those that
similar.
don't know, Seikais are technically a Hungarian ethnic group in the eastern part of Transylvania, up in the mountains in that region, who historically they were kind of the warrior tribe
Yeah.
back in the day. So when the Hungarians settled in the Carpathian Basin and Pannonia, the king decided to put the Seikais as they were used as vanguard and rear guard. So they were put on the borders of the country to sort of protect
Exactly. Yeah.
the region. So they have this culture of, the tough men, and like we call, they have these knives they used to carry, the bichka.
Yeah. Okay.
And we call it the Seikei bulletin, which technically means, the Seikei ID. So your ID is your knife,
Okay.
right?
Oh, but so you would call a bichka a bigger knife?
I mean,
Because for us, a bichka is just like a small one, like a size of like a Swiss Army knife or something.
yeah. Well,
like.
I might have missed. That's technically a regional term, but I think
But I'm sure it is.
I think I would use it. Yeah.
For a bigger one, for a bigger knife.
Yeah, as long as it's a pocket knife, but it's a classic.
Yeah, but like this size.
It
it's
can be.
almost like
This can be a
hunting
pocket knife.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I know. No, we definitely wouldn't call that bichka where I'm from. We would
Fair
call
enough.
bichka like a small one, that you used to just stab people.
The Scots are hearing bitch right now. That's all they're hearing. They're like, they don't know what we're talking about. But yeah, that's a word for knife, a specific type of knife. But yeah, so there is what I was gonna say. There's an overlap in the culture. Is that they're seen as these rugged mountain people, sort of. That I mean, because they don't really live in the mountain, and I'm
Just
you know-
imagining like mountain people.
no, I mean, come on, you
just
got
rags
massive,
and-
yeah, you got massive city, but they got mustaches. There's a famous Seikei mustache, and yeah, it's just like that culture of, again, rugged warrior type people. And like the joke, going back to Seikei jokes, the one we have is basically the wife comes home, he's like, you haven't told me you love me, and and you never talked to me. And the guy's like, well, I told you when we got married that I love you.
Oh yeah, I know this.
Yeah,
I know
well, if
this.
it changes, I'll let you know.
Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of jokes that relate to this. It's like, okay, I did this once. Why would I do it again? Or like
Yeah,
this kind of
yeah.
like I don't even know how to describe this. Not down to earth, but like really like
Just rugged,
yeah. I
Just
guess
that-
rugged is a good word.
efficient in communication. Just
Like proper, Like,
yeah, a manly man.
yeah, like yeah.
But yeah, I'm just fascinated of how we make up these stereotypes, even jokingly, because we know it's not true. I mean, most of us know it's not true. Every now and again, you meet a person that's like, "Oh, that's how they are," and you're like, "Mm." But yeah,
I mean, to be fair, one of the first Scottish friends I made here, he's a pretty frugal person. So
right, that's one out of us. You got was a population of 6 million. Like, come on, those odds are not great. 1 out of 6 million.
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go around and meet everyone now. So.
Just go.
I would just write it down. Okay.
Would you consider yourself a frugal person? Yes or no? But yeah, I just don't know how it became a thing. Like, why do we have Scottish jokes? Like, historically speaking, like, there's no...
Yeah, there probably weren't like a lot of Scottish people around.
No, we had no rivalry. There's no historical rivalry between Scots and Hungarians up until this podcast comes out.
Yeah.
We're about to start some shit.
No, I've already seen like a lot of like Scottish like Instagram or Facebook pages sometimes like
Reacting, like-
resharing like a map of Europe that who
we joke
who
about
we
the
joke
most.
about, and it's like there was like, what the fuck, Hungary?
Yeah, it was like, Hungary on site. On site.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's just weird. So, let's get back to you moving to the UK. Or just a little detour in our culture.
Yeah, sure.
So again, free higher education.
Yeah, that's
mean-
one of the reasons, I guess.
Same reason.
So basically, I tallied up like, okay, where would I apply to, and at that time I spoke Italian pretty well, well enough to go to uni.
I mean, that's fucking fluent if you can.
Yeah,
If you can
yeah,
study
yeah.
in a language.
I mean,
that would-
like I was there recently. It was still good. I didn't have to use English, but anyway, it was better. So I thought about, okay, I could go to Italy. I could go to the Netherlands because good life, supposedly.
yeah, and they speak English.
They speak English, or I could go to Scotland. And
Not England because it's not free higher education.
yeah, although I did apply to some English unis, just because the course I applied to weren't really available in Scotland. But yeah, pretty much this is it. By the time the deadline arrived for the Italian application, I already had an unconditional offer and my place here, because I moved here in September. The deadline for the Italian thing was probably in September or August or some shit. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I have the offer here. I'm gonna come here. Sounds good.
Okay.
Pretty much that's it. I don't know. I always liked the idea of Scotland. It is a beautiful country.
It is absolutely.
I love
stunning.
it more here now than I thought I would, or even that I imagined how it would be.
I talk shit about the food, but visually I like it.
No, I meant more like the nature or just the general.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, and I'm addressing previous comments I've made about Scotland.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I find it to be friendly, beautiful. I love some of the. I don't know. It's a country of like, it's very modern in certain places, but then you go like up to Glasgow and it feels this ancient place of like, whoa. You have that feeling of history, which is kind of cool. Okay, so that was 7 years ago, and were you pursuing music?
Much less so.
Much less. So you were focusing more on your studies.
Well, I was never like a very diligent student, I think. But I was just focusing, I don't know, on uni life, just making friends, going to my classes sometimes.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I get it.
Yeah, well, sure.
Allegedly.
That's not what I said, but
I'm putting words in your mouth.
I cannot comment on this at this time. I'm sorry.
Cannot confirm or deny.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think so. I came out. I was planning on getting my guitar out or guitars out. Not this one because I didn't care about the classical guitar at that point. But they proved to be very expensive. And then I got an electric guitar here.
Yeah, apparently transporting your guitar is a pain.
Yeah. So it didn't happen, but I did get a jazz guitar. And I was like really rarely using it. And then a year later, I got an amp. Started using it more, and then at that time I also kind of got into psychedelic music. That's how the whole effect pedal thing started, slowly snowballing into like.
What were you saying psychedelic? We're talking.
I don't know, like also classic rock from the 60s, 70s.
Like for me, go-to is always going to be Pink Floyd.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess they're a bit more progressive, but I don't know.
I'm not a musician.
I don't like labeling genres at this point because it's just futile.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
It's like when you name a genre, it doesn't mean that's the only thing they do. You could say that's the most accentuated, that's the strongest thing. That's the they put the most emphasis on that style, but doesn't mean that's the only thing they do.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you're right.
Thank you. It's
Anyway.
nice to be right every now and again. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but I'm still very annoyed when it's like someone's like really trying to pigeonhole something into some genre, but can only describe it by mixing together like 10 different genres, and it's like it does make sense because you try to describe what kind of music it is, but ultimately it's just unnecessary. I feel like some people are very serious about this, and I'm like
it's it comes back to your conversation I've had, how people sometimes like to use objective terms when describing subjective stuff.
Okay.
And that can be about quality of something, or that can be just like, no, that's what this is. It's you can't make it anything else. It has to genres.
Yeah,
for instance.
But yeah, anyway, so then I kind of got into it more again.
Okay.
And then just did it more and more.
And I met you performing your first DJ set, you said?
First DJ set, yeah. Yeah, that mostly came out of necessity. because
you're gonna have to explain that one to me. So you became a DJ out of necessity.
No. So basically, Eugene and Ferko, so the friends that put on some events and have a nice collective here, are they offered me that I could play,
And you just couldn't resist the beat.
And no, of course I would love to play, and because I haven't even played for like 2 years before that, I think, or a year, I don't know. But I was like, okay, there's no chance I'm gonna put together a live set, like proper, like playing my own music, because like I didn't even have any songs I would play in a club at that point, and it's just much more work. And I realized I shouldn't be too idealistic about what I can do in this certain time frame. So I was like, okay, let's do a DJ set. It was fun. I finally found the songs that I'm gonna play the night before, so that's good. That's good. But then I also realized like I really like it, like doing it. It's also something I find more just fun and relaxing at all times, and you get to know a lot more music.
Yeah, I mean, I reckon.
Because, like I would just flip through like hundreds of songs because it's like, okay, this is not the right sound, this has the fucking wrong drum there, okay, and you just flip through so much music.
So yeah, so that's something I have no insight so far really into the world of a DJ.
Okay.
Right? I mean, the DJs I know, they're playing songs for a party, right? But like, what goes into, like, tell me how are we thinking as a DJ?
I mean, I don't know. I'm once again, I'm really
okay.
That's a new thing. That's a new thing for me. But
so how does a beginner DJ with serious classical music background,
and more like the
theory,
I think at this point, like, just production and synth stuff helps me more.
Yeah.
Because with the technical parts, I was already very conscious about what I wanted to do. I'm so used to like turning the knobs and affecting sound that I didn't even have to think about this.
Said turning the knobs.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, so one good thing about that was I didn't have to like learn of what I'm doing because I already knew what I'm doing in a sense.
Yeah. So you're not approaching this with zero knowledge.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of techniques that I had no idea about, but I think I was already more conscious. Is okay, I don't have time to learn this, so I'm gonna limit myself in a certain way of how I'm gonna mix things. Because I knew like, okay, I would love to play, I want to play, I will play, but I also have like super limited time.
Yeah, so, and you have limitations, anyway. And then like you want to try your best, but certain things you're like, if I put this in front of people, it's not representing me at my best. Like
but also like I think what I'm trying to say here is just I was much more conscious going into it than I was when I got into like electronic music or just producing music, because that was more exploratory and still is more exploratory. Because I don't know, I see more potential in it. But here I knew, okay, all this is about is getting the right songs that sound good enough for me, that I want to play to other people, that I want to show to other people, and making nice transitions. And this is what I was gonna do.
And is there a specific, like, I'm looking at the detail stuff, like,
okay,
like if you're building a live set, what goes into that?
Okay, with that first thing, what I did was I had an idea of the general sound and vibe I was gonna go for.
Right.
And basically that's why I just like basically scroll through a lot of music, because I already had like maybe 1 or 2 songs that I'm gonna play this. But then I don't necessarily know the right songs yet. So then I have to find them. But I already knew, like I really had it in my head, like, okay, this is a specific song I wanna, not even a specific song, like a specific sound and a specific rhythm that I wanna use. And then I would collect.
Do you think of like, I want to build this, like, I'm thinking when you're writing a play, right, you go, okay, sometimes you might have an idea of in the beginning where this would be an interesting topic to explore. Sometimes you have an ending in mind. It's like, let me figure out how I'm going to get there. So for yourself,
what I would do is like, I would really collect a lot of music, and then I would just kind of like play around with them and find if like some transitions work or not. And then the ones that I keep, the other ones I threw away. And then, yeah, pretty much this is it. And then you have a number of like transitions you can do. I already had I don't know. I didn't find it hard to, in my mind, to build up like let's say, I don't know, like an arc of like where I want to start from and kind of which direction I want to go towards, sound wise and tempo wise. I don't know.
All right, so
Or-
that's
or-
what I
or-
was curious about. So like, are we talking, you know, not pitch, but like a mood? Are we talking, as you said, tempo?
Yeah,
Are we
so the
talking a bit of
mood
both?
and mood and like let's say the sound set. I don't know how to describe this in a concise way. I already had in mind, so that was like basically a criterion for selecting songs. But yeah, I don't know. I sometimes have to remind myself to not try and plan out things because if I plan out things, they never usually work in a good way.
Well,
Like
go on. I'm just thinking. We're going.
yeah, no, like if I really like have a plan and I'm really trying to push myself to do that specifically, more often than not I end up frustrated. Whereas if I'm like, okay, I have a plan, but I don't actually want to get there in like a straight line, I'm just gonna
So what you're saying is it's important to stay in the moment.
yes, yes. Or also be in the flow.
Yeah.
These are the two important.
The flow state. You're telling me that DJs talk about a flow state and actors talk about in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone talks about flow states now.
Yeah, because what was it? It was a Hungarian psychologist. Or he's not Hungarian. He's got a Hungarian name. I think he's Hungarian American.
So they're Hungarian. Everyone's Hungarian.
Yeah, that's the other thing Hungarians do, which is like, did you know this actor was Hungarian and that person's fourth generation Hungarian? Now we figured out that apparently the Queen of England was somewhat related
Of course.
to some nobility.
I mean, Jesus was Hungarian. You know?
Everybody knows Jesus was like,
Exactly.
bro, have you read the Bible? It's a Hungarian. What are you talking about?
That's actually a good point. That's actually a good point.
Oh, man. All right, okay, so I'm kind of getting a little bit of insight. I'm kind of understanding what goes into actually building like a live DJ set. Because again, I have zero context. for
Okay,
this.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'm not the best person to answer
But
this.
yeah, no, but listen, this is your early days.
Yeah.
If I get to speak to someone who's been doing this for 10 years, I'll ask them the same fucking question. And hopefully I'll learn even more.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Got a controller since. It was very useful when I went to Portugal to visit a friend. We did some after parties. It was fun. It was very.
Also, do you specifically do electronic music? What styles do you DJ in?
Yeah, I
genres?
guess so. Electronic music, but I don't know. This year I really like a lot of break music, and I also make a lot of kind of break-oriented music, I guess. So I don't know, like some examples of UK garage and other break music is super enticing. I don't know. These past 2 years I was more into techno, but I like a lot of synthy techno that has nice synths in it and whatever. But I don't know. It's nice to do something like more like morning or afternoon music as well, you know.
Okay.
I don't know. I actually haven't used it in a while, like the controller.
And as a DJ, how
Wow.
annoying is it
Too.
when someone's like, bro, listen, bro, can you play this track?
I never had this.
Not yet?
No. But also, once again, I want to keep this on the side because right now I'm finishing some tracks and I want to put together a live set.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk to you about that as well in a
but
second.
yeah, this I really just want to do more like for fun. And if there's an opportunity to play, okay, now I have basically a few sets that I could put together in a few days. And then I wouldn't have to stress about trying to put together a live set or some shit. Or just like, oh, I have to write songs now. Or which is something I find much more, I don't know. How do you say like,
Well, is it good or bad? Is it rewarding?
it's good,
or
like, yeah,
annoying?
rewarding, exactly. Or
Fulfilling.
fulfilling, exactly. I find that much more fulfilling. But this is a good way to like, to be able to say yes instead of being like, oh, no, I can't, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be flexible.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm learning. Anyone that I've talked to so far who's been making some sort of living in the arts talks about being flexible.
Yeah, it's good.
Don't be too rigid.
It's good. Plus, I do like to show people my music. I mean, not my music, but like, stuff I like.
Yeah.
And that's the perfect environment because they just have no say. They just have no say in what's getting
So,
played.
so
you know?
you're the guy at the party. It's like, bro, listen, let me just show you this song.
No,
and
no,
then-
I try not to be.
But you have the impulse too.
Sometimes.
Because I know I do.
But no, but see, I also like to listen to other people's stuff.
yeah. I mean,
You
you
know?
know, yeah.
Because like I hear my stuff a lot, whatever.
Yeah, like there's a
Whatever.
beauty in discovery and it's educational and it's long term is good for you. You know, you don't want
Exactly.
you don't want to know
exactly.
only your shit. You want to hear other people's shit.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know, like when I moved here, I didn't like hip hop at all. Now I like it.
Really?
But it's actually, yeah. Actually, my flatmate like showed it to me in first year and showed some good examples. I was like, oh yeah, this is good shit. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's important you let other people play music because otherwise you're just an annoying person that always wants to cue stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to hijack a party. Then you're gonna be
Yeah.
that guy. I have done that on occasion.
Plus,
but I'm
sometimes I do have the
actively
tendency
avoiding.
to like put on a song like with long intros because I really don't mind long intros. I like long intros, but in like a social setting, it just
Yeah.
doesn't work. And like sometimes I just forget this, like especially after like a long like club night or something, you know. And,
And
then
then-
at
and
an after
then-
party, I'm just like in a completely different like headspace already.
And
like,
then you end up being in the situation. It's like, guys, it's gonna get good. Wait,
Yeah.
Wait, once it drops, hang on, wait, not there yet.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna love this bit. Hang on, and you're like, it's been fucking 2 minutes.
Yeah, but you know, if it's like a 10-minute song, I mean, what can you do?
Fair enough.
No, but yeah.
I mean, that just rolls into the next topic, which is,
Okay.
my friend, I want to know about you creating your own music. How does that work? Like, what do we imagine? A mad scientist in a dark room with a guitar and a recorder and 2 laptops and go.
No. Okay. Well, it can go between me and my room because that's where the synth setup is now. But a lot of times I'm just like sitting here and just fucking around in Ableton and then doing something I like and then developing that. But I don't know. I don't really have like specific like genre that I'm doing or anything. I'm sure it's also because even though I've been doing this for a few years, I'm still like really finding my sound or my sound
Yeah.
because I already have one, but and it's been like getting more crystallized. But I'm sure I still have like ways to go, you know. But yeah, so I don't know. I just have some mood, and I usually just start to make like one sound or something, and then sometimes it doesn't work and I just stop. But sometimes it's interesting enough that I start to add more things, and then yeah, let's see where it goes.
Okay.
Yeah, I resample a lot of like Foley recordings. So like Foley recordings that's in like I don't know, like environmental sounds
Yeah.
or something like that, or just sometimes I make something like synthesize something, just like process it until it's like really fucked up, and if it's good, it's good. If it's not, I don't know. I don't think I'm very conscious about it.
So you don't sit down of like, this is what I want to create
No,
necessarily. You
Not
do
usually, not
more of the
usually.
experimenting,
yeah, I think so.
and then if something grabs you, then you start going off.
I get yeah.
Which is
Yes, sir.
actually because I've been thinking about this, and I did a little vlog on this. You know, when you want to create something, and if you're stuck, especially, it's better if you just write down any idea you have. If you just experiment as much as you can, and then at some point something will stand out.
Yeah.
It always does, and then you can build on that. But you don't always have to approach something with like a clear plan in mind.
No, I actually, okay, now I realize. So sometimes I sit down and I want to do some specific thing and I start doing that. But then that 99% of the time evolves very quickly into some other direction and like, okay, this is working much better. Like especially when I sit down with a guitar, which I don't do a lot of times. And by the time I finish, like there's almost no guitar in that, you know, like just because I just sit down jamming and then just develops into some completely different direction. But I think that's better. Definitely works better for me.
Interesting. Now I'm curious about, you know, creative styles. Everybody approaches this differently, and there's a lot of there's a variety, but there's a lot of pitfalls that we can fall into, you know, in this endeavor of trying to come up with something out of nothing. Well, technically it's never nothing because it's always a context in your brain, but
Yeah.
just creating something that didn't exist before in that form. And yeah, it can finding your own style and not being too rigid and this is how other people did it, which we talked about before, like not trying to read everything Elon Musk has ever read.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I think it applies to music as well. So you need to figure out stuff that works for you. You're your own set of neurons.
Yeah.
So
I mean, sometimes, especially in this kind of like more sound designy world, you hear something that's like, oh yeah, I wonder how he did this, and you try to replicate it, and you probably do it very differently, and probably ends up being very different, but that's enough inspiration to start something,
Yeah.
I think anything can like work like this, but it's good. It's good. It also allows me to really just make always widely different music that still kind of sounds like now it's like coherent in a sense that there's a certain style, but it's not a genre, it's not the mood or anything, it's just a sound, and that's good.
Yeah, I'm just kind of always was gonna say something deep, but not deep, but I was just gonna laughing at myself of like, interestingly, in music and in life, sometimes, there's a balance between order and chaos.
Yeah. I mean, look, all of the stuff that we talk about is like really like edging on the pretentious level, because it's just very hard to talk about this in a nice, like natural way,
No, I mean, it's not pretentious if it's true, right? But if
yeah, but I think phrasing it is very hard. Like, to not sound like what you did in order and chaos.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, no, but it's just basically like you don't want to be, again, coming back to the word rigid. Like, if you don't have any plan at all, you're just gonna end up in a mess. Or at some point, some plan will form, because you can't be in a complete mess all the time. But you also can be just sticking to like, no, nothing else. This is what it has to be, and then I'm not willing to go any other direction. Just this, because that brings you to perfectionism, where nothing.
Yeah. Plus,
you're wasting time.
I always get frustrated. Like recently, I'm making song for my friend's video, right?
Right.
And he sent me some reference tracks. It's a fairly different style from what I usually do. And the first reference track, even though it really worked and I knew what was good in it, I listened to it quite a lot and it really poisoned my mind, in the sense that I tried to really get something similar and it wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know why I started saying this, but yeah.
About sticking to something or trying to stick.
Yeah, trying to stick to something. So once again, that doesn't work well, right? Because yeah, as I said, it poisons your mind, right? Like it takes over your creative process.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it can be very good to have a reference.
Oh, that was the most dramatic sneeze.
Yeah,
That's getting cut.
Yeah.
Maybe not. We'll see how long that took up. How much time?
Like 5 hours, because I'm just gonna talk about this. Yeah. No, I have the craziest sneeze attacks too. Like just like nine sneezes. It's like.
Yeah. That brings me back to my dad. He sneezes once. The windows in the house are shaking. The old school East European dad sneezes. It's vocalized. It's chua. Like it's.
He sneezes once a decade, but the house full standing.
Yes. We're still rebuilding from the last great sneeze.
Yeah.
Forget about the great reset. Your dad's sneezing again. Oh, right. Okay. So a little bit of insight into your creative music and stuff. I was gonna ask you about perfectionism, my friend, because that's something that I made a mental note of to ask you about. This frustration.
Yeah.
Tell me about your frustrations in the process, sir.
That's a good question. I mean, I think I have that in everything, as most people I meet do.
So let me put it this way: how many times do you give up on a project until you finish it?
Give up? What does I don't know what that.
I don't mean like you just go, fuck this, and then after a while,
like if I say fuck this. No, I actually don't usually say that. Sometimes I have something I make.
Okay, so you say boss something.
Yeah. It's like interesting.
Yeah.
And then it's interesting for 2 days, and I'm like, yeah, this is actually not that good. So that's when I really give up a project.
Right. When you...
If I have something that I really want to finish, I probably do finish it at some point. But yeah, well, so there's two facets here, right? One of the facets is that I tend to get into the details too much a lot in like certain sections of a song, and this definitely was a bigger problem in the past, and like now I'm improving, so it's less of a problem. But that can be kind of like a perfectionism, and then you can really see that I'm missing the big picture, you know, and I'm not working on the parts that I should be working on. So that's one of the things that I think where perfectionism comes on. But otherwise, um, yeah, you can just put songs down and let them rest and then get back. And I wouldn't say that that's like trying to be perfectionist if you do it, you know, if you do it for a long time even.
Yeah.
I think where the problem starts is if like you keep working for multiple days just in the same thing, you know, because after a while it's like not gonna get better.
I mean, yeah. At the same time, is it Jack White? He's the lead singer of the White Stripes, right?
Yeah.
He talks about, you know, sometimes you just have to close yourself in the studio and it is what it is. 2 weeks later, there's gonna be an album.
Actually, but that's much nicer if you just have a constant, like you just work constantly. That can be kind of nice. I haven't had that in a long while, but no, I'm talking about the fact like I get home and I'm excited to work on something and I open it, and like I change some things, but not big enough things, and then ultimately none of it matters, and I have like the ninth version of the project, and it's like, oh, it's actually this almost the same as the third version. So
Well, yeah, that's
you know,
when you
that's
get,
bad. That's bad.
Yeah, that can be when. Yeah, when you're so focused, as you said, on the tiny details that it becomes a bit blurry.
It does. Also, like I don't know.
Like you start second guessing. Is this the same? Is this not the same? Like
I don't know how it is for like acting or writing, but for music you can seriously overlisten stuff. But when it's your own stuff, it's like it gets so ingrained in your memory that you know, it's like, yeah, as you can say, it's hard
It's
to
hard-
decide what
Yeah.
any of that means anymore, because it's too close to this.
Well, for actors, the classic is trying to pick a headshot. So basically, you know, you get photos done of your face.
Okay.
And you have to like, most of the time they did like, I don't know, maybe 100, maybe 40, I don't know. You need to pick out 5, 6, 4, 8, how many? And you look at it, you know, your face. I'm smiling like this. I'm smiling like that. I'm smiling like a little bit higher, a little bit lower. Da 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 da. And then, is this expression? Is that too much? Is that not enough? Is that? And do I need to be a bit? Oh, the light needs to be a bit, you know, brighter on my face. Oh, all this shit. And you stare at the same, you know, it's still you. And at some point, your insecurity kicks in of like, fucking hell, my forehead is huge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Plus, I assume it kind of blurs into just like a massive
Yeah.
skin, like.
yeah, and at the end, it just they're all wrong.
Yeah.
Nothing's right. But yeah, you have to. This is where it helps to have a vague plan of like, that's what I'm going for. Get in and
Yeah.
out. Get in and out before you get.
I mean, I
fucking-
think once you start doing something, it's different. Then after you can have plans. I think it's just beginning things is when having plans can be more, give more
Detrimental.
diminishing, be more detrimental, give more diminishing returns, at least for me.
Okay.
Like, you know, like right now there's something I've been procrastinating on doing, but I'm just not doing it, and I know it has like 3 sessions to like totally finish it, like, but that includes like mixing and mastering it and everything, and maybe re-recording some vocals, but
Yeah.
but you know, at that point you have a plan, and if you stick to it, it's fine. If you don't, then you can probably just like be in the perfectionist vibe and
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, I've got 3 scenes of my play that been writing. I think that I've been writing this bit for almost a year now, on and off.
okay,
And I'm like, I just want to. I just need to sit down and finish it. You know, just.
and you're not doing it.
Well, fuck it. I'm gonna do it as well as I can, and once it's written down, then I can work on it more. You know. But I just need to write it actually down. Just tell the story once
Yeah.
from beginning to end, and after that I can fuck around with it.
Do you feel like you're like at one point you're kind of scared to sit down? Because you're like, wait, I have to do this. I cannot spend like eternity on this. But
It's all
You know?
yeah. There's a bit of anxiety of like, what if it doesn't come? What if I sit down and it's gonna be shite?
yeah,
And you know what? That's okay.
it is, yeah.
That's actually okay. As long as I'm doing my best and it's still shite, fine. That means I'm gonna learn something from, and the next one's gonna be better. And there's no other, like, you're not gonna get better unless you do it.
Yep.
So
I guess. So.
I'm saying this to myself. I'm looking at you and I'm like,
I guess so.
fucking Sylas, finish this play already, huh?
No, but it's good for me to hear. So.
No, because see, the thing is, like, I had this conversation with someone, and you know, understanding when something's good and appreciating something that's good is not the same skill as creating something good.
No, it is not. It is not.
And the only way you get better at the skill of creating is by creating a lot of shit.
Yeah.
You can, you can read the most beautiful books ever written until you actually sit down and try to write one of your own. You don't know what it's like to actually do it. You just got an image
in your head. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, like you don't know how many. Like, I remember seeing notes of, was it the Brothers Karamazov? Yeah, that's Dostoevsky, and like the guy's got like, half a page, or in his handwriting of notes, or as he's writing this massive novel, and it just
wait, in total half a page?
No. It just there's like pictures of these handwritten notes, and not handkerchiefs, but like little bits and bits and pieces of paper, and you're like, oh wow, so that's what this is. That's what it looks like. This is normal.
Yeah. And about writing, like I never, like I don't do this, but I never imagined, or I never knew until a while ago how much like work just goes into just word building. Like some writers I know, like they before they write anything, they build the word.
Well,
and you almost don't see any of that in the book, or not directly, but not necessarily explicitly. Like I read some people like really build a word like very intricately.
Some more than others.
And then do a lot of like research into like doing that like nicely.
I think George Martin talks about you can be an architect or you can be a gardener.
Wow.
And like basically
another other semi-pretentious thing to say.
No, what he meant by is that like I was about to say J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling's a different writer. No, I'm thinking Lord of the Rings, right? And Tolkien.
So Tolkien, yeah.
Yes. And he was an architect because he came up with entire languages.
Yeah, sure.
And things, and worlds and maps and all that.
Yeah. And there's a huge lore for thousands of years.
Like, that's an architect, what he means by it. And then the gardener is you go and it's like, you just make up enough shit that you need.
Yeah.
But then, where's Winds of Winter, George? Still waiting on Winds of Winter. I'm just saying.
He's gonna die first.
Controversial. He doesn't like to hear that. Fingers crossed, but yeah. He's an interesting case of, I think he's got massive anxiety about writing and getting it right. I think he might be a bit of a perfectionist. And he talks about, just toiling so long to get something right. And I think that's something that's sort of putting him off, and he goes into creating everything else. I kind of get it. I mean, it's tough, but at the same time, it's frustrating as a fan.
Okay.
Like,
yeah,
I wish, I wish, I wish it was finished. But gotta respect the man. He gave us already a lot. So.
How many books are there? Like 5?
5 or out, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but he even asked, there's an interview with him and Stephen King, and he's like, how do you write so much? Stephen King's like, well, it's just like this.
Well, more like...
Yeah, true. It's a new era.
Well, has been for a while, actually. I don't know if you noticed.
It's okay. I'm getting roasted now? Sorry, I write my stand-up like this and this.
I mean, that's valid. When I was doing some teaching the other semester, I did all my prep just writing, like just handwriting. And handwriting, what I would say and all this shit. Because it's much easier. Like it's much easier to remember. Like once you write it down by hand, I find like it's really easy to remember what you did.
Typing is quicker.
Yeah.
But handwriting is like something because it's slower, I guess, and you're more focused on the shape of the word as well.
Yeah.
And it ingrains a bit better. But yeah, it's a very therapeutic thing, isn't it? Writing by hand, specifically.
I think so. Yeah. I actually used to do that as a kid more. Now I don't. I mean, like, how do you say that? Like creative writing, like doing something. But yeah, that's maybe in a few years.
I want to ask you, my friend. I mean, this is something I normally ask: is how you've been finding the local scene in your slice of the industry?
I mean, it's really good. I find it super motivating, especially in the recent like years. Yeah, like in the last like 2 years or even 3 years, when I started to hang out with people that had very common interests. Yeah, that's even if not directly, but you're like really pushed by others doing stuff. And I don't know, like I of course in Glasgow it's super easy to meet people doing creative things, and usually on the side, so they also do something else.
Yeah.
And
The Glasgow industry is
it's just very cool to see. It definitely gives an extra push to like actually do this and actually try to improve, because I don't know, if I felt more isolated about this, then maybe I would have much less interest in actually, I don't know, making music or doing whatever.
Yeah. There's a community element.
Yeah, so I find that truly amazing.
Good.
Look, as long as it's there, as long as this is like this, Glasgow is probably a good city to live in, because that's the main, that's the primary, I don't know, advantage of living in Glasgow, at least for me. How how do you say it? People make Glasgow.
People do make Glasgow, right? Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So you still got stuff coming up with Half Past now?
Yeah, well, I was talking to, do you know Eugene?
Yes.
Yeah.
He will be interviewed hopefully soon.
So yeah, I definitely play with them. If they have something else this year, and they have a slot for me, I would probably play a DJ set. That would be actually much better than the first one. But yeah, next year some live stuff definitely.
Nice.
They would, as I heard, they would like to see me play live stuff. I would like to play live stuff. So hopefully that happens.
Nice. So making moves, kicking ass, and taking names.
Yeah. Hopefully gonna release some stuff soon.
Nice. Yeah. I remember you talking about that.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I can, just get into my head, be like, yeah, I need to release this. But a friend of mine told me once, like, yeah, but like, I don't know what he said yet. But like realistically, it's mostly just your friends listening to it, right? No one cares. And I'm like, that's kind of true. And it's actually like helped me a lot, because then
Takes off the pressure.
And then you realize like, yeah, it's actually like doesn't matter. None of this matters. The only thing that matters is that if you never release things, I think then that can take away your motivation, because you never really finish things.
Yeah.
Like that's why I'm trying to push myself a bit.
It's an angle to work towards. It's a direction again.
Yeah.
So you need a little bit of direction.
I guess so. But too much.
Not too much, because then you're micromanaging, and then it's not good.
Yeah.
That it's frustrating. I'm slowly gonna start asking you my ending questions I like to ask people.
That's fine.
One of the questions I ask is, creative people, and I'm guessing sciencey people as well, have to do all sorts of crazy jobs to pay the bills. If there's a crazy job you've done as an immigrant in the UK or in the arts in general.
Not really. I mean, I first did Deliveroo here.
Right.
And it was a much different time for Deliveroo than now. Much less industrialized.
All right, okay.
So that was fun.
The wild, wild west.
Yeah.
of chicken curries delivered.
Chicken curries. Oh man, I had the craziest thing yesterday. I had the curry calzone.
Yeah, the curry calzone.
Yeah. It's a calzone.
Yeah.
With curry in it.
With curry in it.
Yeah, it's like...
I'm trying to think how many cultures just got triggered right now.
I mean, it's
I can hear some Italian pitchforks.
Yeah. And
tell me there was no pineapple in the curry, because that's like...
No, that would be nasty. That would be really nasty.
Okay.
No, it was a late night food. I haven't heard of that before.
It's guy.
I was skeptical. It was good though.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? We just flew past the crazy job question. So we're going to end up on the food question, my friend.
Okay.
So the food question is, what dish from Hungary do people in the UK need to know about? I should tell you, we've talked about turorudi, we talked about tötött kapusta.
Okay. Well, I make this the most probably, and it's paprikás krumpli.
Right, okay. How is this paprikás krumpli?
Huh?
It's potatoes for those that don't know.
It's potato with paprika, and well, in my word, it can only be done with like sausages, like chorizo style sausages, like kolbas, right? Because some people do it.
Kielbasa for the Polish crowd.
Yeah. Some people do it with like frankfurters and stuff like that, but that's
The
not.
fuck out of here.
No. Like there for me, that's the only proper way.
It
of
has to
doing
be
it.
like you have to taste the meat. None of this paint
Yeah.
stuff that came out of this machine that like, we don't know what's in it. It's like two
Yeah.
pig's legs on a cow's ear. Like
Yeah, and of course like sour cream on top, and maybe some parsley on top.
hang on. So paprika shrimp. So what's this?
Well, so you know, like
Potatoes.
you cut the onions.
Onions.
You do the onion base. You add the paprika. You add the potatoes. You cook them. You add the chorizo.
Boiled potatoes, or is it half boiled
No,
potatoes?
no, just raw potatoes.
Raw potatoes and onions.
Yeah, and then you boil them.
You boil them together.
Yeah, you had paprika scrumpy before, right?
No, I don't think I've had this one.
Really?
No, I don't think I've
Okay,
had this.
okay. Yeah, so this is how my mom makes it. But I also
Hang
put,
on.
I also put in the chorizo
talking.
first. Yeah.
Keep talking.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
I'm
So
curious.
onions,
Yeah.
like fry them on the well, stew them
Dean
on
style,
the oil. Yeah.
Shallow fried.
Yeah, exactly. Shallow fry. Or saute.
Sauté, s'il vous
Saute
plaît.
the onions. Yeah. Then add the paprika, and then I usually actually fry the chorizo a bit because here you can only get chorizo easily. Well,
Wow.
okay, I know, with some caveats. Anyway.
If you know the right shops.
And then just add in the raw potatoes and then put water and then you cook them. And then
And then sour cream.
and then sour cream on top.
As
Yeah.
God intended. None of this
As God
fucking
intended.
tomato sauce pish.
No.
Ferko and I had a whole debate about tomato sauce and stuffed cabbage, and I was like, you lost me, bruv. Don't you dare.
Tomato sauce and stuffed like turtled kapusta and tomato
Yeah.
sauce. That's weird. I mean,
Thank you. Thank you.
seke kapusta is a thing.
Yeah, but it's not with
Right,
tomato
but-
sauce.
Seke kapusta is with tomato sauce.
On what fucking planet?
Um,
Tomato sauce or
on
just fresh
planet
tomato?
huh? No, just like I guess fresh tomato. Yeah.
Yeah, just a
But
little
it's like
bit.
it's like cabbage with tomatoes, right? Seke kapusta.
Not where I'm from.
So wait, okay, because you're from there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how
We
do-
just
how
call it
does this
capusta, bitch.
Okay, I figured. So it just raw cabbage leaves, right?
Yes. No, for us it's like we just do the. Hang on, I'm thinking colors ready capusta. There's different.
Okay. So for us, seke kapusta is like a relatively rich tomato sauce with probably some meat and some cabbage, right?
Sour cabbage.
Sour cabbage, yeah. But that's not turtled kapusta. Like
No.
stuffed cabbage, it would be really weird in tomato sauce. So.
Well, right now we pissed off the Poles because Polish people eat it with tomato sauce.
But the same type of stuffed cabbage?
Yep.
That's interesting.
Don't ask. Don't ask. I'm not about to start it into that.
Yeah,
no,
it's gonna
into
be
it.
like-
You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong, okay? Sour cream or nothing else. God created sour cream for a reason.
Yeah. One of my grandmas makes like amazing like stuffed cabbage.
I mean, I talk a lot of shit about this stuffed cabbage with tomato sauce, but I haven't tried it yet, so what do I know?
Yeah, but I mean, there's only one way to make foods, and it's like how your family makes it, right?
Exactly.
So-
I know at least how half of my family makes it, but not every, grandmas have their own recipes, not all good, some of it's like,
Yeah.
one grandma cook better than the other one is all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same for me, I guess. But also, like, my grandparents make paprika schrumpy, back to the paprika schrumpy thing, differently. And they make it, like, utterly wrong, in my opinion. So, like, it's nothing against them, but it's not the right way. Like,
Not everyone's blessed with having the right kind of knowledge.
I think they also make the stuffed cabbage without actually stuffing the cabbage, which is, it's weird, right? Like,
I'm out. No.
I mean,
Disown them. They're not your family anymore.
no, but my other grandma makes like super, super good stuff. It's like, layered and
That's what I'm talking about.
wow, now I kind of want to eat this shit.
Yeah, I know, me too, even though I had food before I came over.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
And I'll probably see you around in the neighborhood.
Yeah.